just got rear-ended. The other driver was at fault. But after the repair shop fixes your car is still worth less than it was before the accident. And your insurance check does not reflect that. Most people have no idea they're entitled to more money. Hi, I'm Pablo Tamayo, an accident attorney here in Florida for almost 2 decades. And if you were in a crash that wasn't your fault, you could be leaving thousands on the table. It's called a diminished value claim. And in this video, I'll show you exactly how to file one the right way, so you don't get stuck with a car that's worth less and a payout that doesn't cover your loss. So let's break it down. What is a diminished value claim? How does it work in Florida? And how can you actually put that lost money back in your pocket? Imagine this. You're shopping for a used car. 2 identical vehicles, same model, same year, color, everything. One has a clean record, the other was an offender bender. Which one are you likely paying more for? Exactly. That difference in price, that instinct to trust a car with a clean history, that's diminished value in action. Buyers care, dealers care, banks care, and insurance companies definitely care. They just hope you don't. But in Florida, you're actually legally allowed to file a diminished value claim. If someone else hit you, their insurance may owe you, not just for the repairs, but because your car is now worth less because of the crash. And so here's how it works in Florida. The diminished value claim is usually made against the other driver's insurance, not yours. That means if you were rear-ended or T-boned or what have you, you can file a claim for the lost value of your car on top of the repair bill. And in Florida, courts recognize these claims as valid. That's good news. There are technically 3 types of diminished value claims, but one is the main one, inherent diminished value. That's the automatic drop in the value just because your car was in a crash, even if everything was fixed perfectly and reasonably. This is the most common and most recognized claim in Florida. Then there's the immediate diminished value, which is the loss in value before any repairs are done. That's less common. And finally, repair-related diminished value. That's when the repairs were flawed, mismatched paint, poor alignment, non-OEM parts. It happens, but it's a different kind of claim. So, how much money can you actually recover? Well, let's say your car was worth $20,000 before the crash. It gets fixed, looks great, but because it now shows up in a Carfax with an accident record, buyers are less likely to pay the same amount. Maybe now it's worth $17,000. That's a $3,000 drop in value. That's your diminished value. The insurance company might come back with something like $500 or $800 using their own formulas as an offer. If your car is newer, more expensive, or had a clean history before the crash, that diminished value could be thousands. I've seen situations where someone had a nearly new BMW that got rear-ended, and even after reasonable and fair repairs, the dealership assessed that vehicle at less than $7,000 of the market value. The goal in these claims is to try and recover the fair market value from the at-fault driver's insurance. So how do you file one of these claims in Florida for the diminished value of that car? Well, step 1, get your car professionally repaired. Choose a trusted shop, save all the documentation, the photo, the invoices, all of that. Step 2, prove the loss in value. And the most effective way is to get a professional diminished value appraisal from someone certified in these claims. Sometimes a dealership will give you a number in writing. Other times you can gather listings of similar cars with and without accident histories to show the price gap. And step 3 is to write a demand letter to the other driver's insurance company. In that letter, include your car's details, year, make, model, mileage, plus the repair history, appraisal report, and the amount of diminished value that you're seeking. Step 4 is be ready to negotiate. They'll likely push back or offer you a lower amount, and don't settle on their first number. If your evidence is solid, keep pressing. Step 5, if they refuse to budge, bring in legal help. An experienced Florida attorney can put pressure where it's needed. And in many cases, the moment a lawyer gets involved, the insurance company takes your claim serious. Under Florida law, you're entitled to recover for any losses caused by someone else's negligence. That includes more than just repairs. It includes the actual financial position you were in before the crash, and that includes your car's value. But no one's going to offer it to you freely. You have to know this exists, and you have to be prepared to ask for it in the right way. The sooner you gather your documents and file, the stronger your claim. Now let's talk about common mistakes, because this is where people leave thousands on the table. Mistake 1, not getting a professional appraisal. If you try to guess your car's value loss, the insurance company will dismiss it. Get it in writing from a professional. Mistake 2, taking the first offer. Don't. Counter with your own evidence. Never take the first offer. Mistake 3, signing the settlement release too early. You might think you're just accepting the repair payout, but if the release says full and final settlement, you could be waiving your right claim diminished value without even realizing it. Mistake 4, not reporting hidden damage. If your shop finds more issues than repairs, make sure it's documented. It all ties back to the final value. What this claim is really about is making sure you're not quietly left holding the bill for someone else's mistake. Not every car will qualify for a big claim. If your car is old, already has damage, or wasn't worth much to begin with, your diminished value might be small, if anything. But for a newer car, or any car with a clean history before the crash, you should absolutely check. Can you file this kind of claim with your own insurance? In Florida, usually not, unless you have a very specific coverage, but diminished value claims typically applied when you're not at fault and you're going after the other driver's insurance. So here's the takeaway. Don't assume the repair check is the end of the story. Diminished value is real, and if you handle it right, it could mean thousands back in your pocket. Get the appraisal, gather the documents, send the letter, and push back if they lowball you. You can always discuss the validity of your claim with an experienced attorney, because what you don't claim, you can't recover. Before you go, here's the next step. You just learned how to get compensated for the value your car lost after an accident. But there's one move that can wreck your entire injury claim, and it happens before you even realize it. It's picking up the phone when the insurance adjuster calls before talking to a lawyer. In our next video, I'll walk you through why that one call can ruin your entire case, what to say, what not to say, and how to protect your rights from day one. Don't miss it. I'll see you over there.